Hey viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your host for Tuesdays here on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we're talking about the law of concealment. I am doing this on a webcam, so just trying to figure out this new system, and I have my notes right here in front of me. So, this week we're talking about the law of concealment, and the question was basically, is this a thing? Is this a thing that we believe in? And they also asked, does it only apply to quote-unquote black magic? So, first thing is, what is the law of concealment? First thing I thought was that it sounds similar to the part of the witch's pyramid, which is to keep silence, and I wanted to know if I was accurate in thinking that. So I did a little Googling, and I only found this concept talked about on one website by one author, and this person believes it to be so important a part of their magical practice and the way that they see magic that they consider it a law, but it does not appear to be one universally acknowledged. So the law of concealment, as they describe it, is basically that everything about your magic must be concealed, not only from other people, but also from yourself, in the way that when you are done working the magic, it is completely disposed of and hidden so that not even you are looking upon it after the fact. And I think this is where the questioner is asking us, does this only apply to black magic? Because this was a black magic blog that it came from. So I don't know if it applies to black magic or not, because I don't subscribe to those terms. I don't believe in categorizing white magic, black magic, green magic, whatever. Magic is magic. It is a tool. You use it as you will, and the intent of the practitioner is what makes it different in some way. Now, the term black magic, the way I understand it, usually refers to... Actually, I can't even say that, because even as I'm thinking that, people use the term in so many different ways. On the one hand, some people use it to talk about anything that they associate with darkness and nighttime magic, which those things are not inherently negative. So I do not subscribe to that idea that automatically they are the same. And but what I think of is typically magic that is intended to cause harm, or magic for some other sort of knowingly negative end. I don't know if this law of concealment really applies to that or not, because that's not the kind of magic that I practice. So I can't tell you that. But it absolutely does not apply to my practice and the type of magic that I do. I definitely have had success with magic and have had spells and other little rituals and things that I've done work even when the object involved has been visible, or when it has been something that I wear around visibly, or when I have talked to people about it. In fact, there are some workings that are added to by talking to other people about them. And so the type of magic that this law of concealment page was talking about is really focused on solitary work. It was saying that you have to do this alone. It is concealed from everyone else, and you have to dispose of it alone. It's all alone. So this would not apply to any type of group magic being done. It wouldn't apply to any type of coven magic, really. Or you could extrapolate it and say that only the members of the coven would know about it, and then it's concealed from all of them, and that they never talk about it elsewhere, which is true. They mostly don't talk about it outside their own groups. But it sounds like this really applies to things that you do completely alone. And I have had success with spells that I have done alone and then worked with other people on, adding their energy to it, having people all around the world work on the same intent together, and yeah, things like that. And I have a lot of success with things that I do that are visible, or things that sit out on my altar that I continue to see and I continue to add my focus to, and that other people might see, and if they know what it is, they might continue to add their focus to, or just bringing attention to it gives it more energy. So it does not apply to the type of things that I do, and that's about all I can say with utmost certainty, because I do not practice the other types of things. So maybe for that type of magic it would be better to just hide it from everybody, and not, it would also maybe be better not to do it at all. But it depends on what it is. Obviously, it's up to the practitioner to decide what they are going to do and what they are going to take on and take upon themselves. So I think it's related to the idea of keeping silence from the witch's pyramid, which is to know, to will, to dare, and to be silent or to keep silence. Typically, what I think of as keeping silence has to do with not just gabbing on about it all the time and not telling everyone, like, ooh, I just did this spell and it's going to bring me this, and, like bragging about it or going on about it. And I do like that just because I feel like it's often a very private thing that I don't want to be talking to other people about, especially when you don't know how other people are going to feel about your intentions. But I have talked about magic that I've done after the fact, after I know it's done and it has worked its magic, and now it is complete in whatever way that it is, however it worked out. I might then talk about it later on, whether it's in a teacher-student type relationship, explaining to people, giving examples of things that I've done and how they turned out. I will talk about them after the fact, but I typically do not talk about any current magic that I am working as it is working, unless it is something that I need other people to add their energy to, or that I want a specific person to know about. And of course, then the other part of keeping silence is that you have to be aware that if people in general know about what you're doing, if they disagree with you, they can then choose to actively work against what they know you are trying to do. And so when you decide to not be silent about things, you have to take that into account. So that is something that is part of my practice. I do not consider that the law of concealment, because it is not so much concealing everything literally from sight, from all senses, from yourself and from other people. It's just about like letting it do its work and not talking about it constantly and not worrying about it constantly while it's working. Like, once you've sent it out to the universe, let it go, let it do its work. That's really what keeping silence is about. And also just not blabbing about the stuff you do to everybody, because you never know who is going to be receptive to it, how. So yeah, that's kind of how it applies to my path and my practice. So it was a very interesting topic. I wanted to be able to read more about it, but I did not find anything else other than this one thing. So if any of the rest of you are familiar with this from elsewhere, please let us know in the comments and tell us whether or not you think this applies to your practice, or if you have any sort of similar thing like keeping silence, being silent from the witch's pyramid, or anything like that. And I will see you next week, same place, relatively same time, for another topic. And until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.